What's going on, Whisper Nation? We are doing another mock draft Monday here, February 15th. Catch it live. Join us in Sleeper.
Right here.
Johnny, it's February 15th. Happy Valentine's Day, man.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I love. Did you get my chocolates? Did they come to you yet?
I did. Thank you. I was just eating them randomly, and that's just the best way to do it.
Nice.
You never knew what you're going to get, but they're all delicious.
Well, these are all chocolate condoms, so I hate to ruin it for you, but they're every single one is. Sorry.
Well, dude, how was your Valentine's Day?
You know what, man? It was good. It was pretty quiet with me and Philly Chelsea. We went ahead and just got in the trenches the way D linemen and O linemen do, our own version of Valentine's Day that way. But you're laughing over here. She remembers it. It was crazy. No, we had a nice Valentine's Day over here with the Kit Kats. And yeah, man, how was you and Jade?
We had a good time. I mean, we watched a TV show and kind of hung out and enjoyed each other's time because we don't get to spend a ton of time together.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. And then we ordered out. We got some nice food, and it was good, man. We enjoyed it.
Nice, man.
But dude, I am super excited for today's show.
Why is that?
Because today we are not only normally we just stream on YouTube, dude.
Right.
Normally we just stream on YouTube.
That's the two.
But that's in the past, man. We've upgraded, dude. We are now streaming on or at least we should be. It's saying we are. We are streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Periscope right now. So yeah, man. I think
what's next? PBS? Gonna get them all?
Oh man, this is exciting. So we're gonna be doing a mock draft.
Yes,
we're gonna be doing a mock draft, Austin. I mean, why don't you tell people?
Love to. So Whisper Nation, whether you're catching us on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, PBS, wherever you got us going, we're now tuning in, but we will be doing our draft from Sleeper. And if you follow along to the Fantasy Whispers Twitter account, Johnny has sent out our live link for our mock draft that we're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. The spots are filling up quick. But this is going to be a 12-team PPR Superflex mock draft. We've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots left. So half of the room has been filled up. We'll go until just a couple more minutes here to let Whisper Nation tune in and grab one of these spots to draft alongside myself and Johnny. But, of course, our number one fan, Jacob Bley. The FB therapist just got in here, Jay Blizzy, our Whisper Nation Listener League champion. Still hurts coming out of my mouth, but the truth is the truth. And Captain Bob with that Buccaneers logo at the 1-1 spot. So, Johnny, right, we're doing a 12-team super flex. That's going to be 2 quarterbacks, ideally, 1 in your flex spot. Do you want to let Whisper Nation know any of the other rules here in case they're thinking about jumping in this mock draft?
Yeah, it is a PPR, so make sure that that's also a factor. But, yeah, other than that, I mean, just make sure you fill out a team. Oh, no defenses, no kickers as usual. We like to leave those out because we always say draft that in the last round if you have to. If not, you pass on it. You get a couple dart throws, right? You just take your time. You can pick those up the week before, a couple days before the season even starts, Austin. You can pick those guys up. So that's what we normally say. So instead of doing that, and some people taking defenses and us continuously taking dart throws, we just eliminated those 2 positions. So it's a couple fewer rounds, Austin, but still a good time, man. Still a great time.
So then we've got no defenses, no kickers, 13 rounds. The rookies are in this draft, but we don't know who they're playing for yet, but they're still involved in this draft. PPR, and other than that, quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 or 3 wide receivers, Johnny?
We have 3 wide receivers.
3 wide receivers, tight end, defense, and a flex option there. No kickers, no defenses, but in your flex option, we can play quarterbacks. Yep. We do this every single Monday. If you miss this one, don't worry about it. We'll see you next Monday, and it's all building, of course, towards the mock draft marathon, right, Johnny, where we do 24 straight hours of mock drafting sometime in August.
Yeah, buddy. So this is this is gonna be really, really fun. We'll get it started here in just a second. I just want to say we got a couple shout outs here. Football therapist says, "What's up? What's happening, guys?" Said, "Man, I'm liking it. I'm liking the Superflex." So we're excited to get this underway. We'll get started here in just a second. If you are new to our show, this is the first time you're tuning in, make sure that you let us know in the comments, and we'll throw you up on the screen. We'll give you a shout out. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you can.
Yes, please. Hit the bell. Ring the bell.
Ring
Ring, ding, 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 ding.
All right, Austin. I think we should get started here in
Sure,
like maybe 30 seconds. We'll give it 27 seconds. All right, we'll start in 27 seconds, as Austin likes to do here. And yeah. Oh, we should mention that no big Travie today. He is having to he has to do some family stuff, so he is out this week, but he will be back next week.
Wish him your best. He gets very nervous when he flies. So send him some love, and hit like and subscribe if you haven't done that. So,
all right,
Mr. Travis, hope you are doing well on your trip to Washington.
All right, man. Let's start, man.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's begin this draft.
Johnny, how has your mindset been shifting? We're doing mock drafts for a season that's 8 or 9 months away, or whatever it is. What are you thinking right now drafting for startups right now?
Ooh.
Anything different?
If I'm doing, like, you're talking startups for Dynasty?
No, sorry, just like regular redraft leagues here.
Oh, if we're starting now, I would tell people you're doing it too early. That's what I would tell them. Listen, and I should. Oh, Austin, I forgot to tell you this. I forgot to say this in like the intro part, which I'll just say it now. The other awesome thing about us doing this, we do it every single week. This is the 5th week that we're doing in a row. Mm-hmm. And I had to get a graphic for the thumbnail. And so I just had to do a quick mock, and I noticed that everything is now updated. They updated the ADP. So things are going to get it's going to get a little bit crazier. Like rookies, we're starting to go in like the 4th round, man. Like Najee went in the 4th. So that will be interesting as well. So that's why we also like to do these mock drafts. Not per se to tell you to go and mock draft or to do your draft this early, but it's just to show you what the market's doing.
Right. And you bring up a great point there. And we mention all the time of drafting early is not a problem as long as you understand that it's going to shift a lot, that ADP come August when you're actually drafting. But we saw Trevor Lawrence right now in this mock draft taking the 8th spot ahead of Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. Only Patrick Mahomes has taken off the board. That for me is a little bit early, given that he hasn't thrown an NFL pass yet. I like the prospects, but this isn't a dynasty draft. Just remember that, computer. But it also shows like where the ADPs are setting in, and people are getting excited about that Trevor Lawrence love coming from his pro day yesterday, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was pretty impressive watching that pro day. But what I will say is that, I mean, I get the hype of rookies, definitely. And the question is going to be interesting of just where we should draft Trevor Lawrence. But I blame the computer solely on that pick, because I don't think if Whisper Nation was in and this was full, that pick would have taken place quite so early. But I do think that Trevor Lawrence is going to be an interesting case, right? Because we've seen now multiple quarterbacks come in and instantly have impact, and he's going to most likely go to the Jags, barring some crazy.
So I guess my question for you, Johnny, then in a redraft league, Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence for fantasy football?
I'm gonna go with Justin Herbert just because I've seen it, and I've seen it before, and I like his weapons just a little bit more. But I do think it's interesting. Like, if you don't get Justin Herbert, there's a couple other guys that I am intrigued by that I would probably still put above Trevor Lawrence, but I would definitely take him, even if I'm in a single quarterback league, I think I would take him late, just as a dart throw, because you don't know now with these quarterbacks. These rookie quarterbacks aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, I would. I might be on a little bit on the other side, and maybe a little bit more of a conservative approach. I do recognize that rookie wide receivers, rookie quarterbacks are not the same as they were 5 or 6 years ago. They're coming in and making real impacts, and there are actual expectations of them year one. But still, for me, I've just seen too many Jamarcus Russells. I've seen too many Carson Wentz's, Baker Mayfields, Jared Goffs, who aren't bad. Like, I'm not like these aren't like outside of Jamarcus Russell. They're probably going to be really good, but I need to see it happen first. I'd rather take an proven commodity, unless it's like a wide receiver 3 whose ceiling you already know. Yeah, give me Trevor Lawrence. Let's say he's the greatest quarterback of all time, but that's a really hard mark to hit to be on that level. I would still take a proven commodity, and I would even go far as dynasty. I guess this isn't a dynasty draft, but how early? I bet you got a lot of people in rookie drafts this year considering Trevor Lawrence at that 1-1 spot. I don't think I would take him there, but it would be hard for me to knock somebody. But where are you kind of thinking of Trevor Lawrence in a dynasty rookie draft?
Well, yeah, so it's interesting here. We got the football therapist saying for redraft Herbert and dynasty Eileen Lawrence. Interesting. I would, if you believe in the hype of what everyone's saying that Trevor Lawrence is the next Peyton Manning, then or Andrew Luck, both of those guys, you would probably take over Herbert. So yeah, I think probably in a dynasty I would go Herbert, or I would go Lawrence over Herbert, but I do think that, or I wouldn't be surprised if 5 years down the line we're talking about these guys, and we have a really nice foundation of quarterbacks that are starting to come through, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the top 5 in the next couple of years.
No, it's definitely not. And I need to apologize, Whisper Nation here. My chat was being weird, so I missed some of the people jumping in here. Football therapist, what's going on, guys? What's going on, man? He's liking the Superflex. Me too. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm going to go late on quarterback, see what I can pull together. Jacob Bley says, yo, what's up, #1 fan? He's in that 12th spot again.
Oh, yeah. I'll throw him up here. Jacob Bley, #1 fan here. What's up, buddy?
Ooh, I like that Jalen Hurts pick, Johnny. I think that's he's like what he showed us last year at the end of it. I mean, he looks like the most exciting quarterback in the NFL right now. I know that it's too small of a sample size, but my goodness, he came in hot and left hot.
So shout out to Smitty, and because Smitty, the football show, he puts out great content. He actually had Matthew Berry on his show, and Matthew Berry gave a really interesting stat that I didn't even think about. And that was that if you take Jalen Hurts, what he did at the end of the season last year, and you compare it to Lamar Jackson and what he was doing his breakout season, it's very similar. And so he's like, I'm not trying to say that Jalen Hurts is the next Lamar Jackson, but the potential is definitely there. And I think it definitely is there. And so when you're in, I'm seeing all these quarterbacks go, and I was going to wait, but man, they're just flying off the board. And with the quarterback, or with the computers in here, we know how sleeper is in the computer, and they'll take like 4 or 5 quarterbacks. So I figured I'd grab Jalen Hurts. I like his upside with the quarterbacks left on deck. I still think there's a lot of potential here, but
sure. Another question: who would you take? I was going back between I'm not going to do a full summary on this for Whisper Nation, but we're seeing some really interesting names in this super flex situation. DeAndre Swift, CEH, Jalen Hurts, Stephon Diggs, Najee Harris, DeAndre Hopkins waited until the 3rd round. Chris Carson, Mike Evans, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, Chris Godwin, Justin Jefferson. DK Metcalf not gone until the 4th round. I was wondering here, like, who would you rather have right now, DeAndre Hopkins or DK Metcalf? I went DeAndre Hopkins, but I was really leaning. I was thinking about it a lot. What would you take in that situation, Johnny?
I think once again, if it's for redraft, I'm gonna go Hopkins, just because I do think that they are going to be more pass heavy. I think that that's going to be what the Cardinals are going to try to make their DNA on.
Yeah.
And so, and we've seen Hopkins be the dominant target market share there. And I think that chemistry is only going to continue to build. Like, we have to
Yeah.
remember that, like, usually it takes these wide receivers and quarterbacks a year to get, gelled with one another. And we just expected DeAndre Hopkins because he's been so amazing, and he was amazing this year. We just kind of expected it, but given another year for Kyler, I do think that that would be the better situation for redraft. And with all the stuff that's going on with Russell Wilson too, Austin, like there's been, who knows who the quarterback for Seattle is going to be next year, so that does put a little bit of hindrance on where DK, and I'm sure that might be a part of why he slipped a little bit further, because there's some uncertainty there, and they might run the ball more a little, because of what Russell Wilson's saying, and what Pete Carroll's coming out and saying about, hey, we need to protect Russell, we need to run more,
Right.
all this stuff. So
are you buying into any of that? Do you really think that Russell Wilson's sitting on an actual hot seat at this point, or what's the deal with that?
I think Seattle is sitting on the hot seat with Russell Wilson, to be honest with you. I think Russell, because we've seen how good he is. Like, he wants to do that. He likes doing that.
He's a Super Bowl champion. And a guy who didn't stumble into one. This isn't like a sexy Rexy kind of situation. This is like Russell Wilson and his belief in the possible are what have propelled Seattle's recent success. I mean, as a Packers fan, God, it freaking hurts me so much of how much that dude and his just belief in the impossible has ended our seasons in these ridiculous fashions. But you just can't knock it. Like, you can't knock it. What he brings, he does something that other players just don't do. Like, he brings something that Tom Brady brings to the table. Like, he does more than he should. He believes in more than most do, which stretches his realm of possibility. And that's such a hard thing to find in an individual. Like, you got that in Russell Wilson. I don't care if he's 5'10". Like, this is a Super Bowl champ who, like, can be the best quarterback in the league, or at least top 3.
Oh, we've definitely, we saw it at the beginning of last year, right? So yeah, there's definitely that for sure. We've got a lot of picks here this is getting kind of wild, Austin.
It super is, man. I'm like so disoriented. I'm loving my team, but
I know, but I'm also like, because I'll be honest with you, this is my first Superflex mock of the year.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm a little like miscombobulated on some of the value that's here and where I should go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You've got Jalen Hurts. I like that as one quarterback. We're kind of, a ton of quarterbacks have been taken off the board now. We've got Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Burrow are all gone. The FF therapist says, got sniped with Josh Allen and sniped with Hurts. Man, was not expecting the back-to-back tight ends. Thought one would drop to me. That football therapist, he's getting hit right now. He's getting sniped like a
look at that.
Like a TNT war movie right now.
Right here, this is wild. Okay, so Joe Mixon is available.
Still here.
He's still here.
On the wide receiver side, still you got Julio Jones, Kenny Galladay, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. A lot of these guys.
You have some nice. I was thinking about Keenan Allen, especially in this PPR, to get kind of. But I'm wondering if I've got 3 running. I really like Joe Mixon here. Like, I don't understand. I understand that he was injured for half the season, but as a fourth, I don't see. This is why we mock people. This is why we mock.
10 seconds.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go Keenan Allen.
I like that.
I was very much contemplating here going Joe Mixon. I like the value of Joe Mixon. And I say this as someone who wasn't massively burnt by Joe Mixon, and so that's why I can kind of talk like this. But I do need to get a wide receiver, so let me get Keenan Allen, who is a PPR machine with Herbert.
So underrated. He's a very good talent. He's not a physical freak. He's not on that same level as some of the elite wide receivers, but he's good enough. He's the number 1 guy on the team. He's going to get more opportunity than maybe his talent level describes, but he's never let it down. So maybe his talent level is actually just better than people evaluate. And he's almost like this. He's almost like a rich man's Robert Woods.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's a pretty good one. Okay, so let me ask you, and Travis mentioned it to me the other day when we were just chit chatting, and it was interesting to me. I had never thought about it, but there are a lot of people, I guess, in the league that they think that Robert Woods he's been overachieving the
Mhm,
last couple of years, and that
mhm.
he's like just like kind of an average wide receiver.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think that Robert Woods is just an average wide receiver, or do you think that and he's just been put in a good situation, or do you think he's legit like a really good wide receiver? And people are just underrating how good of a wide receiver is. Kind of like the Keenan Allen. Is he like the new Keenan Allen?
I think that he is his length of success is too long to call any of it a fluke. He could be an overachiever in a real sense of like when you watch The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary, and Steve
Mhm.
Kerr defined himself as an overachiever, and in a negative way of like, I'm not a guy who should be good enough to be in the league. I don't have that talent level, but I've worked my ass off to be in a position where I'm on the Chicago Bulls, and I
Yeah.
deserve to be here. I'm going to show you that. And maybe Tyler Lockett is an overachiever. Like maybe he does just what it takes so that he can be open and catch passes. Doesn't look the best doing it, but the man catches passes. He does it in pivotal situations. I don't care how good he looks or what his 40 time is. Like he makes it happen. He's a good guy to have on your team. I don't care who my team is. I'd like to have Robert Woods on that team. He's a good football player, good teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would take it.
I like that. I like that take. We got football therapist in here saying it's nice seeing the updated ADP, but some of these older players are being extremely undervalued compared to the rookies. Yeah, and you generally start to see, and then Jacob Bley saying I agree with that ADP. Yeah, you definitely start seeing the rookie thirst and hype definitely come in strong, especially because as of right now, it's all wherever what if he lands here? This would be a
Right.
complete steal, right? So that's part of the whole equation and draw and allure of these rookie running backs and wide receivers that are going. But yeah, I do agree. Hey, if like we said, if you are drafting early, you take advantage of this because generally these rookie wide receivers don't come in right away and pan out. I mean, the last couple of years, yes, there have been a few wide receivers that have done it and have been very impressive, but there's also been on the opposite coin as well, like Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy, he came in, everyone was super hyped on him, and he just disappointed because he didn't have, the right quarterback to get him consistently the ball. So you have to kind of weigh that option, right? Like
Mhm.
I so
Yeah, it's so much of the situation of where they land and what kind of opportunity that specific team is going to allow for them. And, like all those really good wide receivers that didn't provide consistent production, whether it's, a talented guy like a Jalen Rieger, or you mentioned Jerry Judy, or like, I mean, honestly, CeeDee Lamb even falls in that camp, who I think
mm,
is going to be the alpha in Dallas and not too long a time. But there was just so many other mouths to feed. He, after Dak went down, you just couldn't count on him, but great streaming options. I guess that's kind of what these top level wide receivers end up being for me. Like Justin
mm,
Jefferson was a great streaming option until he did it so many times. He was like an unquestioned wide receiver one.
yeah.
But like a lot of those guys are mainly streaming options until they prove it otherwise. But I would pause because I was Johnny such a resistor to rookie wide receivers. It was just a filter I put in my head, and I said I'm just not going to mess with rookie wide receivers. There's so many things to concern yourself with in fantasy football. Rookie wide receiver just taking it off my list, and I missed out in years past. Like when Mike Evans, I think Mike Evans was like the 6th or 7th rookie wide receiver to break 1,000 yards his rookie season, and since then there's just been like usually like one a year who ends up
Yeah.
doing it. Like Terry McLaurin a couple years ago, he didn't break it, but he got like 900 and something yards. AJ Brown and DK Metcalf too got close.
And
Jeff broke it last year, but
I do think that like your eyeballs will tell you a lot about a wide receiver and whether it's flu and matchups as well.
mm,
And so another reason why you should follow us, the Fantasy Whispers, throughout the
that's fair.
season, because we'll tell you which matchups to play those rookie wide receivers. But yeah, you make a good point in that they are very much they are more streamers at the
Yeah.
position than they are a consistent weekly play. I do want to give a quick pause here to, if I can get my mouse over here, to give a shout out, Stepmom Lauren in here. An early mock draft. Huge shout out to Stepmom Lauren. We love her
From
content.
Facebook. So, John, are you
Yeah.
pulling in the comments just from the different platforms that they're hitting us up on?
Yeah, man. I'm
cool.
both YouTube, Facebook. If people are on Periscope right now, we got like 9 people joining us right now. We've got 2 thumbs up on Facebook. Those are I think our 2 first live thumbs up on Facebook. So that's pretty cool.
All right. Like it.
Oh yeah, Stepmom Lauren.
Hey, what's going on, Stepmom Lauren? Great to see you. Even if it's just a profile picture, nice to see you.
Right.
Tony here is picking his 7th round pick to pair along with Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Keenan Allen, J.K. Dobbins. Now it's his boy, DJ Chark.
It worked out. I took a little gamble. I liked the J.K. Dobbins value there, sitting in the 6th, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to pass. I know he won't make it past, this round. And so, but I like DJ Chark because of Trevor Lawrence being in there now, and he'll be the number 1, for Trevor Lawrence. And so I was like, oh, do I take the gamble that DJ Chark will still be there? I rolled the dice and it paid off.
Hey.
You gotta love it, dude.
You love that. Don't you, man, you loving that stuff. Who do you like, Robert Woods or Juju Smith-Schuster this season, Johnny?
I think a big part, I can't answer that right now because of we don't know where Juju's going to land. There's a lot of rumors that, the Jets want to bring him there, that the Raiders are huge on the Juju bandwagon. So it all depends, I would say, on who brings him in and how much money they're going to pay him, because I think that those 2 things dictate a lot. Generally they don't bring in a big wide receiver and pay him a lot if they're not going to use him. And I think you can also look at the scheme too. Like especially like if he goes to a team like the Raiders who use the slot wide receiver a lot. I mean, you look at Hunter Renfrow, guys like that. I think that he would see a major uptick, and I would probably, I don't know. See, it's hard because Matthew Stafford now is with, which I do like a little bit more. I think I would still lean Robert Woods as of right now, as of recording this on, February 15th. I think I would still go Bobby Trees, man. I think he's underrated.
Yeah, Jacob Bley's listed. He took Robert Woods. That's a good pick there. The dude just always outperforms all the time, and he's still only 28 years old. Like he like just entered his prime from a wide receiver perspective. He's healthy. He's got a rapport. I mean, I know he's got a new quarterback coming in here. That's a little bit of a wild card, but Matt Stafford can produce for wide receivers. I'm not concerned about that really at all.
No, yeah, at all. I mean, we've seen him, like Marvin. Think about it. Like, who do you think is better, Marvin Jones or Robert Woods? You would say Robert Woods. And so we've seen what Matthew Stafford can do for Robert Woods, or I mean, for Marvin Jones. And so you would say,
my cat is crawling behind the computer right now. You can't see what he's doing.
Wants to get in on this live. Hey, your cat heard that we were streaming on 3 platforms now and was like, yo, we're big time. I want to get on screen.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So Johnny, I'm sitting here. I think I'm going to take another wide receiver. Okay. I don't love the running back options, and I got 3 good ones already. But I'm looking here at Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, and honestly Marquis Brown. I just like that upside.
Yep.
It's probably it probably looks the nicest on a mock draft, a Marquis Brown.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I'm doing? I'm going to go for the clicks on here. I like Juju Smith-Schuster. That's a sexy name too. But I know a lot of people are pausing. They're going to say, what about? Marquis Brown, though, at least. We're just hoping that he continues to develop. He is that number 1 wide receiver option.
I think that you started to see that at the end of last year. It started to click a little bit more. And I do think that Marquis Brown is going to be a sleeper pick this year. I do like the T. Higgins pick as well. I think I'm going to follow suit in the wide receiver run here a little bit, and you've got a lot of See,
I like Parker. I like Hilton. I like Schuster here. 8th round.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Absolutely, and here's where I will take Juju because I think the upside is definitely there, and he's a slot wide receiver. So wherever he goes, he's probably going to get a decent amount. I do think Devontae Parker. Now I will say, like, I would be happy to take Devontae Parker here. I do think
Yeah.
Devontae Parker is undervalued as well. You're talking about another guy who doesn't get much love because he was injured last year and things like that.
Played
But
through the injuries though last year, which is
yeah,
different than what he's used to being. Like we saw 2 years ago, him ball out, him showing you what people expected him to be after years of just fainting from small adversities, right? But now last year, like he was dealing with a lot of injuries. He played through a lot of injuries. He's still that number one. I think Preston Williams is actually going to help him out when he comes back and is healthy. Devontae Parker can get a little bit tougher, maybe lean a little bit in. You could see Devontae Parker be a strong wide receiver too for the next couple of years.
Oh, we have a great point here. I do agree with that, Austin, that take. Sorry. The football therapist saying, got to scroll down very far. So many guys deep on the pool. And I was just scrolling like even deeper than where I was. And he's right. I mean, you got, well, I don't want to say all the guy, but even like right after me, Brandon Ayuk. As of right now, I would probably take Brandon Ayuk over Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh, I would have taken Iuke over Marquis Brown for sure. Good heads up, fantasy football there. The football therapist.
We're still trying to adapt the ADP, but we'll get there eventually. But that was great.
I did know on that one. I did take James Robinson there in the 5th because we'd had this in years past or like mocks in the last couple of weeks. So you can find some real steals right now in our mock drafts, which we're going to be doing every Monday. So enjoy them. Brandon Ayuk there in the 8th. I love Brandon Ayuk. He was my favorite rookie wide receiver last year, just based on his play style and what he did. He's like I know he's not anywhere near the speed or anything of a Tyreek Hill, but he just reminds me of like this LaShawn McCoy, Tyreek Hill glitch speed, like glitch action to him. He hurdles dudes. He like cuts dudes. Like, I don't know. It's just really cool.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Did you get swooped?
I did. I was going to go TJ Hawkinson because I really like him as a breakout candidate this year.
Yeah.
And but like Devontae Parker was still there and we were just talking about it. And I was like, well, why not grab him as well? And I was like crossing my fingers that TJ Hawkinson would make it to the 10th round. And I should have known better. We were drafting with experts here. So that was unfortunate. Now I got to figure out where I'm going to go differently there, but
it's a good question. You think
go
about Hunter Henry on this one. I like him. I see Robert Tunyon's got the wide receiver designation, Johnny. That's new.
Whoa, that's wild.
Yeah.
Ooh, great pickup. That is a fantastic pickup that we just spotted, Austin. I don't think that's pretty awesome.
It's a big one, right?
That is a big one because you talk about, players being able and eligible for different designations. It gives you another out when you're playing week to week. I don't think a lot of people talk. I mean, that was what the craze was so much with, Taysom Hill, was that he was not only quarterback eligible, but he was tight end eligible.
Right.
And so in many leagues. And so it was basically playing a quarterback, which is, in most leagues, the highest scoring position, and you're putting him at a position where, it is very unlikely that they're going to score as much as a quarterback, unless you maybe have Travis Kelce and it's a PPR or whatever.
Right.
But with the other, most people would say, well, I mean, how is Tunyon a huge advantage at a wide receiver? You wouldn't normally play a tight end at a wide receiver spot. And I would say, well, you never know on a week to week, especially playing last year with COVID, Austin, how many times were we, that we were about to have a game played or whatever, and you had to swap out a player. And so it's nice to have that extra player eligibility.
It's definitely nice, right? Like you might not do it. You might not use it. You're probably not looking forward to using Tunyon in your wide receiver spot. Most of the time, you'd rather have him in the tight end, but you just never know. Like you never know where you're going to find yourself that week after your guy got hurt and there's a weird extra bye. And then we saw last year how many extra variables you might have to deal with. So you're always going to appreciate that flexibility being added. I was trying to look at some of the tight end numbers from last year because I had a really one that really stood out to me last year. And it's my turn to pick those, so I'm going to go ahead and make my pick.
All right. While you're talking, I will say, touching real quick back on the player position, I always like to say this. I won a championship, a fantasy football championship, because of that loophole one year when Joe Webb was the wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, and their quarterback went out the previous week. He was the emergency quarterback because he had played it in college. And so I put him at the wide receiver spot, even though he was a quarterback, and he got me just enough fantasy points to win me a championship. So that was,
there you go.
Oh, look at we got. Also, I want to touch on who you're thinking here in just a second, but we got the Snap coming in here. Our boys, Kyle Pitts, he's the Snap. We love their content. Go check them out. They'll hop on. Hopefully, we'll have them on the show in the next couple of weeks. I think we're trying to work on that, but definitely great content over there. All right, Austin, where do you think you got 20 seconds left, man?
I'm thinking about adding another wide receiver or another quarterback, honestly, because of this multiple situation. I think that's probably what I should do. I'm looking at right now Tua. I'm also looking at Jameis. I hate Jameis Winston as a human being, but we're not going on dates. We're trying to win fantasy football championships here. So I'm going to go ahead and add him, who could, last time we saw him start was a 5,000-yard, 45 interception thrower, but we'll hope he's gotten his vision checked out and his brain adjusted and his morals put in check. And he can come and lead the Saints to a successful season. We'll see. We'll see about that.
That one's really interesting to me because
Taysom Hill did good.
Huh?
Taysom Hill did good.
Well, Taysom Hill, yeah, like I don't know that they are necessary. Everyone is saying, ooh, A.J. Dillon in the 10th. That's very nice. Everyone's saying that Winston is going to be the starting quarterback. And I'm sure Sean Payton could fix him to be, better, but maybe less turnovers. But everyone had said that when Taysom Hill had signed that contract, he signed it under the premise that he would be the starting quarterback when Drew Brees was not their starting quarterback anymore.
How big was that contract?
How many years was it? It was like a 3-year, I believe. I'd have to look it up. I have to vet that, but I believe that's where it was. So you got to think that why would all of a sudden a summer after they just rolled with him and they won with him? It wasn't like they lost with him. They won with him. So why all of a sudden would they all, then switch it up? And I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do here, dude. Actually, I'm just going to go Jonnu Smith here. I'm going to double down on Jonnu. I was looking at Irv Smith, but Deebo Samuel, that's a good one. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with that, Austin.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. We just saw with the Buccaneers winning. In Tampa Bay with Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Tom Brady. How much can change in a year, right? New Orleans is not too far away from that whole shakeup coming their way.
We got the Snap saying, "Oh yes, always down to talk shop with the lads." Yeah, man. Well, you heard it here. Everyone heard it here. We have witnesses. They are saying we got to get that scheduled up. They'll come on. They're good guys.
Yeah, Taysom Hill hit us up with that info there. Taysom Hill, 2-year, $21 million.
Oh my guys, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got what one? I wonder if that's left or if that was the total contract. He might have one more. He might have one more year left. So
either way, man, I'm excited to see. There's so much excitement that's coming up, and why these mock drafts, especially starting early, actually, I think is a real advantage. Some people think it's kind of silly to get this going. One, it's just fun, so we're having fun. You don't need another excuse for fun other than that. But other than that, it's like you start to think about players, you start to think about situations. Then we see the draft. Then you actually we're already framing up what could be, and now things have happened, and then we see the off-season adjustments come in. So just keep monitoring the situation. It's you could get totally downloaded in August and be all right, but when you watch the way a team moves, when you watch how far they go to, say, acquire a certain wide receiver. You know that they've got real energy and plans for that wide receiver, which could be like, oh, like I'm going to bump him up in my book because I know how bad this team wants this guy. You know,
Yep.
we talked about like David Johnson last year, who didn't look great, but fantasy wise, like he kind of overproduced for I think what his body should have allowed, just because we knew how bad Bill O'Brien wanted him and what the other Texans running back situation looked like. So you're like, no, this is just going to be good for fantasy football. Like you're going to be frustrated as a Texans fan, but from fantasy football, we know that this is an advantage.
Yep, absolutely. And the snap did just verify that 2021 is the last year of the deal. 11.1 million dead cap. So yeah, they'll probably keep him. And I do want to say Zack Wilson, right? I took Tua as my second quarterback, Austin, which I do like, unless he gets traded to Texas or Houston, and that would be kind of bad. But Zack Wilson is someone that's interesting to me. He's a rookie quarterback. We did a little bit of a dive into him. He's very, very interesting. He's out of BYU, and
people love Zack Wilson.
Yeah, man.
They're like saying like hold your guns on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I know, right? He could be that like Baker Mayfield surprise number one. I don't think that'll actually happen. No, but yeah, man, I'm excited and intrigued by whatever team picks him up. And like imagine the hype, especially because we don't know for sure that Big Ben is coming back 100%. Even though I do think he will, but like imagine if they went out and picked him up. Like that's
a great team, I think, to bring that example to, because we saw him last year like when they were 10, 11, 12 and 0. We knew what a complete team Mike Tomlin had put together, led by their defense, great weapons at the wide receiver spot, a lot of different running backs they could use. And Big Ben, you needed him there, but you don't need what Big Ben does to Pittsburgh is not the same thing that Patrick Mahomes does for Kansas City, right? It's like you got a real team here that just comes in and fills in. So a rookie quarterback in Pittsburgh, I'm not really concerned about. I agree with you 100%. Like I'm excited actually about what that could mean.
Football therapist saying really intrigued on the ADP difference here between Fields and Wilson when both have been debated as the QB2 in this draft. Big difference between the two. Yeah, I do think that they're both intriguing, and I think Fields. I think a lot will depend on where these quarterbacks land, right? Kind of like Hurts. Hurts was very intriguing to me last year. But then he landed in Philadelphia, and you instantly knew, okay, it's going to be a little bit of time before Hurts even gets a shot. He could be good, but we don't know. And so that kind of deflated his draft capital or whatever. But it will be interesting depending on where those two guys go, and then you'll really see kind of what the ADP is.
Right. How good do you think this rookie wide receiver class is right now, Johnny, outside of the quarterback position? I know there's 3 really good rookie wide receivers, 2 out of Alabama, and then the third one. But how do you think the rest of the skill positions are stacking up? How do the running backs in this field look at everybody else?
Dude, it's like I'm excited for the skill positions in this draft. Are here. Let me just make a pick real quick, and then I will get into that because, oh man, I've been starting to scout, look at film and stuff, and there are some intriguing guys. This is a deep draft. I want to go. So sorry, bear with me as I look at.
In this round, we're in the 12th round right now. We saw Darrell Henderson lead the way, Preston Williams to follow, J.D. McKissick, Logan Thomas, the former quarterback turned tight end, Anthony Miller, Terrace Marshall, Robert Tonyan I took, followed by N'Keal Harry and Robbie Anderson. Johnny's got 2 seconds left. He lost his time. Did he make it? Did he make Corey Davis? Did he get him up?
No, I got what? Dang it. He's at least my handcuff on Miles Sanders pick. Whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't bad actually, right? That was kind of
it ended up working out for me for one time only. Or actually, remember last year, but speaking of which, remember last year we were doing the mock drafts and I got so upset because it was an early mock draft and it mocked me Robert Gronkowski. And I was so upset. And it was like, that actually ended up panning out a little bit. But yeah. sorry. So Austin, I was going to get to your point on these rookies, right?
Yeah.
This is an extremely deep class. Like the rookie wide receivers and the rookie running backs. I do think that, like, obviously, and quarterbacks. Yeah, I do think that, obviously you have your top guys. You do have your tier 1 guys, but those tier 2 guys, you talked about the top 3 wide receivers. I really think there's about like a top 5 or top 6 really that is like kind of like a 1A and 1B. Most people might not see it that way. They might say, yeah, there's a clear cut between the top 3 and then the top 6, top 6 is like a tier 2. But, depending on landing spots, don't be surprised. I mean, just look at this. Like last year, for example, we thought that was a deep wide receiver class, and it was, don't get me wrong. But like T. Higgins and Justin Jefferson, these guys were falling even in rookie drafts to the 2nd round.
Yeah.
And these guys are, I mean, look at, even in this two quarterback league, look, T. Higgins went in the 8th, and trying to think of where
you had Iuke go in the 2nd in ours too.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're seeing that, right? Oh, there we go. I got Corey. Oh, I was talking again. Unbelievable. I was going to get Corey Davis. That's unbelievable. There we go. That's what I get for chit-chatting and trying to draft at the same time, which we don't advise doing, people. We don't advise. But that was just
right?
Yeah,
you just gotta be like, I'm drafting.
Exactly. But that just goes to show how excited I am for these rookie wide receivers and the rookie running backs. Like Chuba Hubbard, like I think depending on where he goes, like he could be in a Michael Carter is interesting looking at that position. I will say I don't know how deep the tight end position. I think there's just Kyle Pitts and then everybody else at that. We haven't dove super deep in the tight end position quite yet, but there's there's some really awesome skill guys coming into this draft.
I'm super excited for our dynasty rookie drafts. I'm excited for the actual NFL draft, see where these guys end up landing. That makes such an impact on the viability of these football players from a fantasy football perspective. Not all the offseason adjustments. It's like the NFL and the NBA have gotten a lot more willing to make drastic moves, and I think it's fun for everybody involved. I think it's good for the game. I think it's good for the fans. I think it's certainly fun to watch. So I love all the extra movement that we see continuing to come out. I hope we see more of it.
Yep, 100% agree. Well, Austin, you're on the clock for the last round here. If you are new to our channel and just tuning in, do not leave us because the fun is just beginning. We will then go into diving and breaking down and giving grades to those that have mock draft with us. They have become our world famous draft grades. And even though it's February 15th, we still give out draft grades.
Of course.
And I'll tell you, mine is definitely going down with the last few picks that I've had. That's for sure. But if you want to join in on next week's draft, if you didn't get in on this one, make sure you follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, or on YouTube, so you can get in on next week's mock draft. We tweet out that, oh, it set me on auto. That's why. That's why it keeps picking me. Unbelievable. I wanted to say I'm back. How do I say I'm back?
I think it's under the bottom, or it's on there's a little auto thing on the right side usually.
That's unfortunate.
What happens if you drop down the names? If you click the down arrow, or on the right side above the players, above the chat. I was gonna go down.
I don't know. Oh, well, we're in the last round. That's unfortunate. I would have definitely taken Mike Gesicki there, but once again, I'm trying to figure everything out. I'm trying to run everything on a new platform, Austin. So
it's a StreamYard, man, and it's been really cool to see people jumping in from Facebook, from YouTube, having it all centrally right here. Oops, and man, I started missing some guys here in the chat. Man, the football therapist been coming in.
Yeah,
Fantasy Football 2021 has been sharing some great tidbits with us. Jacob Bley, of course, doing his thing, and Jay Blizzy here. Has been awesome to have everybody. But good job, John. You're running the new StreamYard platform. It's looking really good.
Appreciate it. I got to adjust a couple of graphics things here, but everything's a process, Austin. We'll get there. We'll get there.
And we are getting to the end of our mock draft here on this February 15th mock draft. As soon as Captain Bob makes his final selection, what we're going to do is Johnny and I will break down both of our teams Let us know who you think did a better job between Johnny and myself. And then we'll go ahead and go through Jacob Bley's, the FB therapists, Jay Blizzy, and Captain Bob's teams as well. Do a quick breakdown and give them our letter grades. And then the other member of our panel, Johnny or myself, will say if we agree or disagree and fill more air with words after that. So, Johnny, you want to take it away? You want to go ahead and start us off?
No, go ahead. Here, let me
All
just
right.
yeah, go ahead.
Took the rushing champion, Derrick Henry, at the 1-6. Really thought about Devontae Adams here in this PPR format. I think next year Devontae Adams is just going to beast as he did this year. There's no reason why he's not. But Derrick Henry, I think, is on a similar trajectory just at the running back position. Happy to take him there. Saquon Barkley fell. I understand that's likely due to concerns of his health and the attractiveness of other players here. But Saquon Barkley is arguably the best running back in the NFL when healthy. He will be healthy to start the year. He plays for the Giants. That's not great for him, but we've seen really, really good running backs do impressive things on bad teams. You just need to have him stay healthy. Hasn't happened in 2 years, but he's still got the health and pedigree and genetics to make that happen. He's 24 years old. So love that. DeAndre Hopkins, alpha main vein wide receiver for the Cardinals. Calvin Ridley. I haven't loved Calvin Ridley picks in the past, but he showed me he is the wide receiver now. Julio Jones is going to still do his thing, but Calvin Ridley is just that good. I'm excited to see the new reign, the new face of the wide receiver room in Atlanta with Calvin Ridley. I think it's probably safe to say next year it's Calvin Ridley and then Julio Jones. James Robinson, the out-of-nowhere undrafted rookie who I think has a really good shot of repeating that success next year, took in the 5th as my 3rd wide receiver. I did hold back on drafting a quarterback just to see what was available. Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield as my 2. Not disappointed with that. Like their floor, like their ceilings. I think Baker Mayfield could be a sneaky play next year with a higher ceiling than I think a lot of people give him credit for. Marquis Brown, boom play at the wide receiver spot, hoping development stays with him. Evan Ingram, I think, is the best pass catcher on the New York Football Giants. Jameis Winston is my 3rd quarterback. Michael Gallup, who we said last week is getting slept on in a big situation. He could be a sneaky play. Keep an eye out for him. Robert Tonyan is my backup tight end. Henry Ruggs there, last year's 1st wide receiver taken off the board by the Las Vegas Raiders, who did show some pop. And then Zach Moss, who I think will lead the backfield for the Buffalo Bills. It's arguably just like a flat-out steal there with Zach Moss at the very, very end. I get why people aren't super stoked or confident, but we'll see where he's at week 2 of the 2021 season. And that's my team, Johnny.
I like your team. I definitely think that your team was better than my team this round, but I'll just break it. I'll break mine down anyway. So I took Alvin Kamara in the 1st. I think there is a debate to be had whether Alvin Kamara should be the number 1 overall fantasy player next year or not. But, I like him as that at that 3 spot. Dalvin Cook would have been another interesting or a name that I would have also considered. But in this mock draft, I'll go with Alvin Kamara to see what it looks like. In the 2nd, I went Austin Eckler. Just doubled up my running backs there, and they're both PPR guys. Jalen Hurts in the 3rd. I wanted to grab a quarterback like we were talking about earlier in the show that has upside. And with everyone grabbing a quarterback early, I wanted to grab my upside guy. So that was Jalen Hurts for me. I grabbed Miles Sanders in the 4th. I just took value there. Keenan Allen, we talked about how much of a PPR monster he is. Really like that value there to start and lead off my wide receivers. J.K. Dobbins, once again, was a value pick for me. I try to leave myself that flexibility in my drafts where I can take best value available. And then DJ Chark, Juju, Devontae Parker, 3 wide receivers I took in the next 3 rounds. My tight end is Jonnu Smith. Tua Tagovailoa is my other quarterback that I took in the 11th. I'm pretty excited about that. Barring a trade to Houston, I would be excited about that as my QB2. I think it's okay. And then these last 3 picks were auto-picked, and this is where my draft fell apart, where Boston Scott, not too bad because that was a handcuff, but then Keyshawn Vaughn, we'll see what they do at the running back position there, but I don't really like that as of right now. And Alan Lazard at the 14th pick, which I expect the Green Bay Packers to get a quarterback this year. So we'll see about that. But
I like it, man. I like how many good wide receivers you actually still pulled together, not taking one, though, until the 5th in a 3-team, 3 wide receiver PPR mock draft, you didn't take one till the 5th and Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen, DJ Chark, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Devontae Parker. They're pretty good. Along with Alvin Kamara and Austin Eckler. And I think that Jalen Hurts pick, you took him right where you needed to take him. Like, he wouldn't have been back. Like, Joe Burrow was taken by the FB therapist there on the 4th. I personally would rather have Jalen Hurts over Joe Burrow. We'll see if that ends up being a dumb statement, but you took him right where you needed to.
Yeah.
So
appreciate that.
Like it.
All right. You want to start off Captain Bob's breakdown here?
Yeah, Captain Bob at the 1-1 took Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert then in the 2nd. So a lot of running or quarterbacks are taken. Justin Herbert there. I don't hate it in this situation. So Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, huge cannons. DeAndre Swift and Antonio Gibson. That's a really nice young running back staple. Love it, actually. DJ Moore, CeeDee Lamb. I like the DJ Moore pickup there. He didn't get a wide receiver again until the 5th round. And then Brandon Cooks and Chase Claypool. Lower ceiling, especially the Brandon Cooks pick. Weird things kind of going on in Houston. We'll see what happens with their quarterback situation. Not a bad pickup, but CeeDee Lamb is your 2. He's still technically the number 3 wide receiver over there. That gives me a little bit of pause. Chase Claypool in the 9th could end up being their number 1 wide receiver. Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Chase Claypool all had great weeks last season, and I would not be surprised to see Chase Claypool ultimately being the most flashy of the 3. I also wouldn't be surprised to see him being the 3rd of the 3. Myles Gaskins is a really nice pick there in the 10th, starting running back for the Dolphins, who played well as long as he was healthy. Jerry Judy there in the 11th, nice. Irv Smith, Jared Goff, and Denzel Mims. I really like the beginning of his draft. I like up through rounds 1 through 5, and then I really like rounds 9 through 14. Mm-hmm. In the middle there, though, CeeDee Lamb, Kareem Hunt, Brandon Cooks. It's not my favorite, but I think this is a solid squad. I give it a B+. It's got no real holes. I think you could have done a little bit better, but I think this is a very powerful team that you don't want to play most weeks.
I like this. I think I agree with your B+, but I don't mind the CeeDee Lamb and Kareem Hunt picks. We'll see with Brandon Cooks. You know, you're more of a Brandon Cooks fan than I am, and so that's where I would say maybe go somewhere else on that pick. But I mean, I would be nitpicking at this point. But I do think there is a path to upside with CeeDee Lamb, being his 2nd year and things like that. So.
For sure.
I agree with the B+. I agree with the B+. It's good. All right. I will go over Jay Blizzy. He is the reigning champ of the Whisper Nation Listener League. Shout out to him. So he had the 102 spot. He took Christian McCaffrey in the 1st, took Dak in the 2nd, then CEH in the 3rd. Then he went back-to-back tight ends here, George Kittle and Darren Waller, which I do like that strategy. I think he got good value on both those guys. Courtland Sutton in the 6th, then Matthew Stafford in the 7th, Brandon Ayuk, Laviska Shenault, Deebo Samuel in the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Took Chuba Hubbard in the 11th, which is a rookie running back that you'll hear his name called in April. And then Trey Lance, who I was actually starting to watch some extended deep dive footage into Trey Lance. He's very, very interesting to me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pronounce this guy's name. I'll just call him D Brown, and then Gus Edwards in the 14th. I think, I mean, Jay Blizzy, he jumps in here every single week, and he shows you why he's a vet at drafting, because this is a very nice draft. I mean, a lot depends on Dak Prescott. You would probably say his quarterback could be, a weakness, but I mean, if Dak comes back and plays like he was playing, or even let's say 10% less than what he was playing last year, I still think that's a very nice quarterback. And then Matthew Stafford, we've seen him. He throws for 5,000 yards and 30+ touchdowns. He can do that. And so I do think he's in the offense where he'll be able to sling the rock. And I think that, Matthew Stafford is going to be a guy that's going to be on my list where if some certain quarterbacks go and I have to, wait, and I ultimately am punting the situation or the quarterback position, I think Matthew Stafford's good. So ultimately, A- for this
Really?
draft. Yes.
I gotta go. I'm going to B on this. I feel like this
Whoa.
is great mock draft. It's something like it. I don't think Jay Blizzy would draft this way. And excuse me if I'm incorrectly assessing your situation, but I don't think he would actually take this kind of team. But I think there's a lot of really great things to try on right here and see how it works out. Like George Kittle, Darren Waller, that's really cool. But when we're doing a super flex, when you can put a quarterback in that flex spot, I'm not looking to play a tight end in that second flex spot over a quarterback ever. And so, like, I love that stack right there. But if I was
we have a flex in this one, you have a flex and a super flex.
Right. I get it. So like you might do that there. It's not bad there. But then it's just like the wide receiver core: Cortland Sutton, Brandon Ayuk, Laviska Shenault, Deebo Samuel. Low floor. Like it's a pretty low floor on that. I like it. I love all these players. I love the young talent too. I even like the Ayuk and Deebo Samuel double up. You get the alpha in San Francisco no matter what, but it just doesn't have enough of a ceiling for me.
You're talking me down. I maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. You said what? What do you a B?
I give him a B.
I would go. You talked me down a little bit, but not enough to go down to a B. I would say B+ on this.
Okay.
All right.
That's cool. I will take over on the FB therapist then. I'm excited to look at this. He's great commentary throughout the draft. So let's see. He drafts at the 4 and takes Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor in the 2nd. I'm talking about Jonathan Taylor continuing to creep up drafts. Like that's going to be a great pick. You're going to be stoked about him no matter what. Stephon Diggs, that's a real wide receiver 1. Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins are his quarterbacks. He did get them later. There was such a run of quarterbacks through the first 3 rounds. He avoided that and still ended up being with like a very respectable situation there. And Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins, and then Zack Wilson later on. And Joe Burrow does have really high ceiling. He throws it 60 times a game. He's got great wide receivers. I'm excited about that pick here. Cam Akers is his 3rd running back. Love that. Terry McLaurin is his 2nd wide receiver, and T. Higgins is his 3rd. It's a great 1-2 with wide receivers, especially when you don't get them until later. T. Higgins, there's still Tyler Boyd over there, but T. Higgins looks really, really good. High floor, especially. T.J. Hawkinson, great pick at the tight end spot. A.J. Dillon is a sneaky running back pick. You mentioned Zack Wilson. Robbie Anderson, Corey Davis, and Michael Pittman are 3 really good dart throw wide receivers to take in the last 3 rounds. I
tried to take Corey Davis 3 times in those last 3 rounds.
I like this team. I think I'm going. The quarterback was the only one that I'm a little bit concerned with. I wish he had a little bit more of maybe took a couple of extra dice rolls or targets on some upside quarterback play later on. Because of that, I'm going to stick him with a B+. If it had a little bit more pop at the quarterback side, I'd go A-, but I'm sticking with a B+ on this one for me. Really?
Yeah, it's the quarterback is the question here. I think in every other position that he has, it's great. Like I'm like, wow, I like where he got the values. I like the wide receivers he has. His running backs are absolutely stacked. But yeah, you talked about the quarterback position. So I would go B here as well. And then I do want to give you a shout out, Austin. You were and Jay Blizzy, he said you're correct. Just wanted to see how back-to-back tight ends turned out, and I think it looked great on Jay Blizzy's team. I know we were just talking about the FB therapist, but I just wanted to say that.
And I like it in another. Like we saw Evan Silva during the mock draft marathon last year talk about taking Travis Kelce, George Kittle, not having a problem with that and doubling up in kind of weird situations. He was also advocating for Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Like, load him up.
Yeah.
And I love
that. And that's exactly what we mock for, is to try these things out in a safe place, in a safe environment where we don't judge. But we do give draft grades.
But we do, because we hold ourselves accountable, right?
Yeah,
we hold ourselves accountable. We're all here committed to getting better. And we will relentlessly pursue perfection, knowing full well that perfection is unobtainable, but in the pursuit of perfection, we will become great.
Yes, absolutely.
And Lombardi said something like that.
all those snipes at quarterback early threw me off a bit. Had to zig and zag this draft. Well, hey, football therapist, you're drafting with professionals, my man. Welcome in. But yeah, no, it's
and these professionals got zigzagged and messed up too. So
oh yeah, I know, right?
Bravado getting your way. But
all right, I'm gonna go over Jay Bley's team, our number one fan here, joining us again on this mock draft. He took Kyler Murray at the end of the first. I like that pick as a Cardinals fan. I do think that Kyler Murray, I think that's a good pick where he took him. I thought that was good value. Takes Travis Kelce in the second. I like the positional advantage that he has there. We talked about, especially in these kind of types of leagues, you try to find any little positional advantage you possibly can. I think that Travis Kelce is one of those players, as long as you can, figure that out in your draft. As long as it works out in your draft, then it's okay. And looking at this draft, we'll continue. We can judge it as we go here. And so takes Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf in the third and fourth round as 1 and 2 wide receivers. Love that. I think those are great values. You were talking about earlier how in the heck did DK fall all the way to the fourth round? So that was good value there. Ryan Tannehill, love that pick. I think he's underrated as a quarterback. I think he goes in that Matthew Stafford conversation of quarterbacks that, if you miss out on that, that middle-ish, like 1B kind of tier of quarterbacks, and you're looking to just wait on the position, I think Ryan Tannehill is that guy. And so I like him as a 2 quarterback guy. Kenyon Drake in the 6th. We'll see where he ends up and how that pick kind of turns out right now as his RB1. That might be a little bit of a problem there. Robert Woods, he took Bobby Trees. We had the long conversation on him in the 7th. Raheem Mostert in the 8th. I do like that value tremendously. I do think he remains the running back there. Jalen Reagor in the 9th. Will Fuller in the 10th. Then you took Alexander Madison in the 11th, Darrell Henderson in the 12th, Dallas Goedert in the 13th, and then Derek Carr in the 14th. I like the wide receivers. I think the tight ends are a very big strength here, and I'm very comfortable with his quarterbacks. I do think he's going to struggle as of right now at the running back position unless Kenyon Drake does resign. Then I think he might be okay. But it'll still be a weakness. I would give this a B because I think the wide receivers and the quarterback and tight end position carry it to a B, but that's what my grade would be.
Yeah, I'm going with a B as well, just because of, some really great strengths here. His wide receivers are phenomenal. I love Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf, the ceiling that they bring. And then Robert Woods, we mentioned the floor that he brings as well, with still a high ceiling there too. And Jalen Reagor, Will Fuller are great dart throws to factor in. But Ryan Tannehill as your second quarterback, taking it kind of early. I just don't love it, especially when you had like Matt Stafford taken 2 rounds later, Baker Mayfield. Maybe Ryan Tannehill is that much better. Maybe I'm being dumb here on him, and I'll eat those words.
Don't say that in front of Big Travie. He'll go off. He'll tell you the numbers or how he compares to Pat Mahomes.
Well, he definitely got some chops to him, but his floor is a little concerning for me still. And then the running back situation is the only thing that really gets me going, and why his grade is depressed. It's the running backs for me. Kenyon Drake, Raheem Mostert, and Darrell Henderson all might not be starting, next year.
Mm-hmm.
It be that way, but we're drafting early, and so that's what it is. And I love that he's showing his depth of knowledge and going to cover his bases, and that's what we're drafting right now. We're figuring out the kinks. All of the early round quarterbacks threw him off, and
his depth of inquiry and sense of wonder.
Oh my God!
As our alma mater used to say.
Yeah, we would get graded in high school on our depth of inquiry and sense of wonder. Your ability to get into colleges.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Austin, we made it through. That was our very first stream across all platforms. We appreciate everyone who followed and gave us a thumbs up or a like. And if you haven't, can you please do that? It really helps our channel grow. We appreciate you guys so much. Austin, you want to close out the show?
Happy Valentine's, everybody. If you didn't have one, I'll be your Valentine. I love you, and there's nothing you can do to change that.
All right. Until next time, that's all sincere. I'm Johnny Game Time Hicks, and we're out of here. Peace.